I've arrived in Perth for the first of the Oz Comic Con shows. Got one here, one over in Adelaide. So we're doing this Saturday and Sunday, jumping in the van Monday morning and driving through Kalgoorlie all the way down through the Nullarbor Plains, across the Great Australian Southern Bight and over Adelaide. It's going to be a bit of a mission, but first things first, to the Perth Exhibition Centre and get set up for the show. Come and show you what it's like. Queues had already formed when I entered the show at about 8 o'clock, and by the end of the first day about 12,000 people had come through the doors. I spoke to probably over 600 people, but it took its toll.
It appears that one of the only problems about talking about your book so much is that you lose your voice. I don't think it'll be a problem. I can hold up some cue cards tomorrow. Been a pretty successful day, but losing your voice wasn't really something I was planning on doing in the morning. I do sound kind of husky, but it's not going to get me that far. Well, this is it. I'm leaving Perth, heading to Adelaide, across the Great Australian Bight. 2,700 or 2,800 kilometres of nothing, and already I've had a snack. Hopefully this won't take long. Any minute now it should clear. It took an hour for the traffic to clear, so I had to entertain myself with a local radio station.
Όπως και ο Σταφυλίδης.
Damn.
Για τον Σαλπικίδη μάλιστα η τιμωρία θα είναι μεγαλύτερη αφού ήταν αρχηγός της ομάδας.
Bueno. You might be forgiven. Goal! Goal! With the city behind me, the buildings gave way to dirt, and I stopped off at a service station to buy the best protection I could find for the glaring desert sun. Coming up to perhaps one of the most exciting events that I've had in the last hour. It's a corner. I've just been driving along, just sort of thinking about random things, and suddenly noticed that the landscape's just suddenly absolutely dropped off. It's just totally flat, so obviously hit kind of that main plains. Can't really see it unfortunately now. It's quite impressive. It's just, yeah, flat from horizon to horizon. It's been a long time since I've seen that position. Unfortunately, nothing changed in the landscape for the entire day. Oh, this is me in a little camping park. Just pulled in for the night. Head down to Norseman. Was going to stop at Kalgoorlie, but just carried on. It was only about 600k from Perth to Kalgoorlie, so just carried on a couple of 100k down to Norseman. I quite like my little space in here. Get quite comfortable, I'm sure. Not that much room though. I've gone and bought my AeroGuard mosquito spray. I just walked out for 2 seconds and voila, about 400 mosquitoes about that big have sucked most of my blood. That's all gone. So I'll have to sort of wrap up, go out there and get stuck into some food later on. Storm's about to hit by the looks of it, so we'll probably wake up to a flood knowing this place. Well, I was worried that it might start to rain. The storm's looming overhead, and by the sounds of it, she's coming in. So this should be fun. My little van in a flood area. I may be floating down to Adelaide from here, which should be a quick trip. Thankfully, the storm passed, and in the morning I was free to learn how to communicate with the average Australian commuter. Going up to the secret hand signal of drivers on the plane on the way. Check that out. Yeah, got him. I'm not quite sure what that means. Whether it's just a friendly hello or at some point we're all supposed to meet up behind the bushes or something, right? That's why I like actually getting out and travelling around instead of just flying from Perth to Adelaide just to do a show. We've got 4 days in between. Wave, wave, wave. 4 days in between to, yeah, just get out and have a look at a different kind of landscape that I don't get back in New Zealand.
just driven past the signs of the RMT conversion. Driving down the road, wondering where it might be, and suddenly realised that the land had been levelled either side of it quite a way, and it's just been, the whole road, the I-highway, has been turned into the actual airstrip itself. A little bit freaky, just about to drive across it. I've been searching the skies for planes. Doesn't seem to be an emergency going on, you never know. So hopefully I won't be killed by a B-52 bomber, or a stealth plane, or an incredibly large mosquito. Despite the wind noise, I was not rear-ended by a plane, but I was met by a rather different challenge. Just passed a sign saying Australia's longest straight road, 90-mile road, for 145k I think it said. So this is my view for the next 145 kilometres. Riveting. Made the world's straightest road, but it's certainly not the most boring. Unfortunately, I'm travelling in a van that's about as tall as the Eiffel Tower, and it's getting blown all over the place in the wind. So while the road is straight, I'm certainly not driving in a straight line. And it's not that much of a worry until you come across one of the huge road trains. I guess if I hit one of them, I'm not going to worry about it for long. After escaping death by mere feet as each truck passed, I began to doubt whether my idea that I could save money by driving across Australia was the right decision. Silly tell you come out in the middle of nowhere and the petrol price has gone up from about 147 or something rather in Perth to $2.02. Filled it before it was $2.05, so you pretty much got no chance to not paying nothing, so screw you here, that's for sure. I even tried to find some live wildlife to see if I could hitch a ride, but they were hard to spot, so I had to improvise. So I turned onto a B road and thought I'd try and get some inspiration from the landscape without it whizzing past my window. One of the good things about driving along here is that I sort of just kind of hang out on my own, and in relation to writing about all of the field, especially for the beginnings of the second book and where the series leads on to after Madness and Helen. Just putting myself in their shoes where they get into, there's times where it's just desolate and they're on their own, there's no one around, and you just have that moment to yourself for a long period of time.